Hello, 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 and good afternoon. Happy Thursday. Thank you guys so very much for joining us live today on the Keys to Success show. It is your girl, Miss Lee, coming to you live, full-time real estate entrepreneur based out of the Atlanta, Georgia area. And it is my absolute pleasure today to welcome Tim Harvey and Mr. Will Galloway, full-time real estate investors based here in Atlanta, Georgia. Guys, if you would take a moment, thank you again so much for joining us, but take a moment and introduce yourselves to our viewers.
Okay, well, Haki, we certainly, before we get started with anything, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for bringing us on. We certainly appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for, you did the wholesaling Queens last October, and we certainly appreciate that opportunity to, to jump on with, all of Atlanta and the rest of the Southeast. So we certainly appreciate it. We appreciate everybody for jumping on. Thank you so much for jumping on with us and wanting to be a part of our day today. So and thank God, of course, for giving us this opportunity. But before my name is Tim Harvey. As you can see, that's my partner. His name is Will Galloway, and we were blessed to be able to start a group called Wholesalers Are Us. I've been in the business about 17 years. He's been in the business almost 10 years, and
Wow.
and we were able to successfully start that group. I started off in the business. I was actually in the restaurant business, so I knew what it was like to work hard. Um, Worked about 80, 85 hours a week, and a good friend of mine came to me, and he was working a quote unquote good job like I was, and came to me and said, hey, I'm thinking about quitting my job and getting into real estate. And we had already started an investment club together. So we just thought this was the next natural progression. So both of us left our jobs and jumped into real estate with no parachute, no nothing, no experience, no nothing. We bought our first house, and basically got everything handed to us on that first house. But I was hooked at that point,
Wow.
and and I really found out that this was something that I loved doing, and ended up doing the business up until about 2008 when everything crashed. I had a lot of success, up until that time. But when everything crashed, I listened to everybody else and jumped out of the business and left the business for a couple of years. Went back into corporate America. That same thing. You're following what everybody else does, but I went back into corporate America and stayed a couple of years in corporate America and just realized that I hated it. I was one of those people that was still looking outside. Like when you're inside, you're inside the office or the cubicle with everybody else. You're the guy that's looking outside, and everybody's like, why are you looking outside? Everything's in here. But I looked outside, and
So I have a question, Tim. Tim, before you say, and I appreciate you sharing your story. Quick question: how did you two meet?
oh
And Will, I'll give you one. How did you two meet
yeah,
each other? You
well,
said you were in
well,
for
yeah,
17 years and you were in for 10 years. How did you guys meet?
yeah. The way we met was, once I got fired from my job, I was out, I was looking outside, and of course, once I got fired from my job, then I got into real estate full time. I got back into this thing full time, started doing short sales, things of that nature. Had a little bit of success, and was out there. I was driving for dollars one day, and I saw a bandit sign, and that's how I met Will. So me and him, we ended up doing a deal together, and we found out that that we had a lot in common, from our faith, to just how we did business, how we regarded community, and that's how we met. And I'm gonna let him take up the story from there.
Wow. Hey, Will, can you hear us?
I can. So,
So,
so
yeah, Will, tell us about you and how did you guys meet and were you always into real estate investing, or was this something that, how long have you been in and how did you guys form the Wholesalers R Us
yeah,
business?
I've always had a passion for real estate, but before I got into the real estate business, just to be clear, I was, in the streets, doing things that I ain't had no business doing, and lived that lifestyle. Got a slap on the wrist, not jail, but just a slap on the wrist to say, hey, your time is up. It's time to leave that alone. So I converted, everything that I had made from a financial standpoint, and I invested to a nightclub in Alabama. I was in that business for about 2 years, and then it was just something saying that this is just not for you. That nightlife and just that type of lifestyle just is not for you. So I just, from there, I invested. I took the money that I had. I still own the building. I never got rid of the building, but I took the money that I had, and I just started investing into my education. Started learning. I started getting into learning on YouTube. I think I started back in 2012. So back then, it wasn't meetups. It wasn't a whole lot going on. I think it was YouTube, university, and then of course some of these local RIAs. So I was just getting a lot of sweat equity, just learning stuff. Didn't have a mentor, none of that. Just kind of hit the ground running. Like Tim said, when we first got started, I met him because again he called me from one of my bandit signs. Back then I didn't have a lot of money to do marketing, so bandit signs was kind of one of my first marketing channels. I could afford to spend $1 on the sign. Or make my own signs, handwrite my own signs compared to, and I also handwritten letters as well. But that was the form of marketing that I could afford at the time. So I was back then I was kind of like we teach today is like marketing your own backyard. And back then the South Side, which Clayton County, was kind of the area that I grew up in, College Park area. So I was familiar with that area. So I was always putting my signs out in that area. So Tim called me one day from my sign. We met up one day, and we just instantly connected, and we did deals like he said, and from there, we just knew it was a bigger purpose. We knew it was, he was successful at that time. I think I was probably about 2-3 years in the business at that time. He was, more years in the business than me, but we both were seeing success, and we both seen that we had some of the similar goals and values. We prayed, and we both realized we were both Christian brothers. And God put a purpose on both of us, like, hey, it's bigger than us. At the time, everybody felt like the business was a secret. Wasn't nobody giving information out, so we was like, man, let's form a community. This one kind of meetup kind of first got hot because we started our meetups back in 2015. So, we was like, hey, let's jump on meetup, let's do it. For a minute, it was just a lot of talk. It wasn't nothing concrete. And then we decided one day that let's meet at Barnes and Noble. Let's put it on paper. Let's come up with a date. Let's come up with a time. At the time, we couldn't afford nowhere, so we got the Piccadilly on Godby Road. They said, as long as everybody eat, we'll let you guys get the conference room for free. So we just wrote it down. We put our date. We signed up on Meetup. We did it, and I mean it's been a success since. We every meetup we've had, rooms been packed. Similar to the one you did. I mean, rooms are always going to be coming out. People coming out, showing love, and we made an effort to make sure that everything is free. To this day, a lot of people say, hey, y'all not mentoring yet, y'all don't have courses yet, but God put on us just to get information for free. It was given to us, so we just give it back. So that's what we've always been wanting to do, is just build the community up, build relationships and partnerships, through our network and through Wholesales of Us.
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. And the fact that you guys give the information away for free is such a blessing, because like you said, there's a lot of different things where you could charge for it, but you don't. And I'm sure the community appreciates it. And in just being a part of the women's the Queens of Atlanta, that event was absolutely phenomenal. I was able to meet some amazing women on the panel. And I thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of that event. So, the market has changed and shifted a lot. Will, you've been in it for 17 years. What are your thoughts on the market and the flow of how things have gone since you've been in it, the change and growth within the market?
I'm going to let Tim speak on that because he's been in the business 17 years.
Sorry, yes, Tim, that's
Okay. Well, I mean, it's just a part of the process. When you think about it, the market is always going to have ebbs and flows,
right.
No matter what. So it's just really a part of the process. I think that, what's been going on, of course, with everything, today, it's kind of heightened and, and it's made things super aggressive, but really it's just a part of the process. And the thing that I love about real estate is that you can, I mean, there's so many ways to make money in real estate. And,
right.
As investors, all we do is we adjust, or what they call pivot. We continually pivot. The change is just part of it. When I left the business back in 2008, I always tell people I should not have left the business. That was the time to have stayed in the business. but without the education and without the, without, the groups and things of that nature, I simply didn't know, and I listened to the wrong people. But now is the time really to get into this business, because you're going to realize, that, this is going to be the greatest transfer of wealth that we've ever seen. So it's, it's just part of it. And if you stay in the business, then you'll participate in the transfer of wealth. If you leave, then you won't participate in the transfer of wealth. So that's how
Wow.
I see it.
Yeah, I mean, that's super important. And now you said in 2008, you left the business. How
Yeah.
long were you out of it? And I know there are a lot of investors now in this market that are seeing things happen, and they're saying, "Yeah, I'm no longer with it. I'm finding something new. I'm going to do something different."
Right.
How important is it to stay and stick with it? And how long were you out of the business once you left?
I stayed out of the business for 2.5 years. Went to corporate America, and like I said, I thought that at the time I thought that corporate America was the answer, and I was being pressed. I was getting married and stuff like that. So had to do some quick answers, but ended up that I missed what was I missed what I had, and not only that, I made a visit to an attorney while I was still working one day. I made a visit to an attorney, and I was just amazed. I was amazed that people were still in the business. I didn't know that people were still doing business. So that's what sparked me to really, get back in here and, and make a decision to, hey, no matter what, I'm going to get back to what I love. So I would encourage people, hey, like it may look like it's hard, but it's not really hard if you link up with the right people. You link up with the right people, they have the right information, like these secrets are no longer secrets anymore. All it is just linking up with the right people, you giving value, they giving value. And when everybody gives each other value, then you're going to make money together. We made money during this pandemic, I'm not saying that it was good, it was good from a perspective of, the pandemic was good, but we made money during COVID-19. So, you know, and I just attribute that to the grace of God and just having the information.
Wow, super important. And William, for you, how important is partnership? Because now, you guys, is your businesses, is there two separate businesses or is there one business?
Yeah. So, far as our businesses, my business is Big House Investors. It's also known as Uncle Bill by House. That's what most people know about Uncle Bill by House. That's kind of our AKA. And Tim's business is hdinvestments.net. So we still run our individual separate businesses. When it comes to Wholesalers of Russ, typically the way we do that is like everybody who brings deals through that platform, we partner together on those particular deals with that partner. So we don't charge them or anything like that. We kind of like, coach them through the whole process from A to Z. Most of the time, the value that we're bringing is, we're somewhat negotiating the deals with the sellers for them, but our main thing is disposition. We know how to get the deal closed. And that's most of the newbies kind of problem is like, they don't either know what to offer, or if they got a deal, they don't know what to do with it. So, we kind of get with them, partner with them, and we get the deal to the closing table. So partnerships, to me, to be honest with you, partnerships is everything. If you think about your business, Hakai, if you look at your business, probably look at your last 5 to 10 deals. I guarantee somebody else was involved besides you and your, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I did that to myself. I looked at my business and I said, Dad, when I looked at my last 10 deals I closed, somebody else was involved. You know what I'm saying? So that just show you that, it's all about community. It's all about partnerships, and some deals, may have not got done if it wasn't for a particular partner, So I'm grateful for partnerships. And that's the reason why we put that out there in our community, like partner, community. It's an exchange, it's almost like whatever you sow is what you reap. If you sowing, hey, we want to receive partnerships, we all about togetherness, we all about unity, then, and in return, people bring you deals, in return people want to do business with you. So that's what we stand by. That's what we've always stood by, and to this day it's now starting to trickleate and starting to even bring profit now.
Wow, that is an amazing structure to have in place, to have two separate businesses, but then to have one powerhouse structure where you give back to the community and partner up together to make sure those deals are a success. I mean, thank you guys so much for doing that for the community. Where do you, now that you've been in the business, you all are very successful in what you do, where do you see your businesses going as you transition in real estate investments?
You said, what did we see ourselves going as everything transforming?
Yeah, are you still going to do single families? Are you transitioning into commercial real estate? What are your thoughts as far as real estate for the rest of the year? What are your goals as far as real estate?
Yeah, I think that you have to adjust to the market. Like what we talked about earlier.
Right.
Things change so much. When I first got into the business, my mindset was just wholesale, 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 wholesale. Then I got into that mode where, I got into this HDTV mode where I just wanted to flip houses and I wanted to, renovate everything, and then, when you get into all these contractor issues and permits and, and taking 6 months to sell a house, from beginning to end, then you get into these little phases. But now I'm in this whole new phase where I just want to just grow, generational wealth. I just want to have, so much cash flow, so what I have been doing over the past 2 to 3 years, when properties were still $10, $20, $30,000, I was taking a lot of my profits instead of going shopping and doing things. I was buying houses, with my money, so I've accumulated, close to 15 houses that I've owned, free and clear. So the goal originally was to renovate those and turn around and flip them. But now when I thought about it a year ago, I was like, man, I bought these houses so cheap. Like, why not get them rent ready? And that's what I've been doing, just, getting them rent ready. I've gotten half of them right now on Section 8. So my money's guaranteed. I'm not affected by COVID and all these landlords, that's getting affected by tenants not wanting to pay. And the evictions again, Keisha Lance done made it to where you can't evict nobody for the next 60, 90 days, so I'm not getting affected by that because government, sending my money in my account every month. So I'm grateful for my property. So just to answer your question, I'm more toward cash flow right now and just still keeping a wholesaling business going because that's going to be your other cash flow. Right. But if things go left, you still want to have money that can still be coming in, even if you don't have to work, so that's kind of where I am right now. Just
wow, super important. And I don't know, we lost Tim. I don't know him. I don't know what happened to the feed with Tim on there, but hopefully he will join us here in a moment. Technical difficulties happen. We're live on the air, so guys, please forgive us for that. I'm not quite sure where Tim went, but I'm sure he'll be joining us again here in a moment. But yeah, I mean, William, that's great information. Building cash flow, buying properties that are not super expensive, and then putting tenants in there where you have that Section 8 rent coming in. I know in our company, that's one of the models that we are bringing on in the company now. And I think we have Tim back with us now. But yeah, that's super important. Hey, Tim, Tim, thank you so very much for joining us again. I think the camera's a bit tilted.
Yeah, let me turn it. Let me use this other phone here. I apologize, guys.
Nope, not a problem, guys. We're live on the air, and that's another thing. And one of the keys to success in business and in life is things happen, but no matter what, you keep moving forward. Small, minor issues, it's no big deal, and we just keep rolling, and that's what it's all about. So, and as we get Tim adjusted again here with us, I know, William, you were saying, rental income is your goal as far as generational wealth. And I know I hear a lot of people locally speaking of the importance of generational wealth. How important is generational wealth to you all in your business? And has that always been a factor, or was there a moment in your business where, it was like, okay, spend, 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 or have you always been focused on the importance of generational wealth?
I think it's just a mindset shift. I think it's maturity. Once you've been in the business for a long period of time, I think you just mentally and spiritually just grow in different phases. And I just think I just got to a point where I just matured in the business. And I'm not looking just at the now right now, just like, what can I do now? I'm looking at the long term, what's on down the line. Being able to provide for my family on down the line, and just being able to know, like, whenever that day comes when I leave this earth, what I'm saying, like, what did I leave? What was my, what purpose did I have? And I want people to, when they mention my name, I want it to be, in good vein, so I just want to make sure my family is well taken care of, and I'm doing everything in my power right now to make sure that, they don't need anything or they don't want for anything. So I think we got to prepare now. A lot of people wait till the last minute to prepare. I want to retire young too. One thing I don't like is like when you go in the grocery store and you see those older people who got to greet you, and nothing against them or nothing like that. But some people just didn't prepare for their future. They didn't prepare to be able to retire. So I just want to make sure not only that I retire and have enough, but I want to retire young. So I can enjoy my life. I don't want to retire when I'm in the 60s too. I might retire in the next 10 years, so I want to put myself in position now for that, prepare now for that.
Wow, super important. I mean, mindset shift and just preparing for your future and thinking ahead like, hey, it's good now. I'm young now. Let me prepare, put the money to the side, invest in real estate, have that cash flow coming in. So down the line, my family's family will be okay because I did what I was supposed to do now and early and didn't wait until I was, older. And like you said, then unfortunately, some families wind up in Walmarts and things like that. And from lack of planning. So, I mean, you would say planning is super important when it comes to just financial literacy and generational wealth as well.
I think it's like you said, I think it got a lot to do with financial literacy. And we wasn't taught, like when I grew up, I wasn't taught about real estate. Like if you think about it, like our parents, they didn't know nothing about entrepreneurship. They didn't know nothing about all that. So we've made mistakes just, by trial and error, but one thing I try to tell everybody around me, from family to friends, like if you don't do nothing else in your life, if you don't do nothing else, own your piece of real estate. Own your piece of real estate. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be a real estate investor like me or you. Just put yourself in position to own, get out of that renting mentality, get out of that mentality, want to own some real estate, because you just never know, it should be a goal of everybody's.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's super important. I have a question for you. With Wholesalers R Us, how often are you all doing it? And when it comes to financial literacy and generational wealth, do you have speakers that come on and talk about things like that, other topics like that? I'm sure you guys do, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, our meetups are, we typically like to have them every last Saturday of the month. So every last Saturday of the month, we normally do our meetups. We also do, we've been doing since about 2 years now, we've been doing a Monday call. Every Monday, we do a mindset motivational Monday call. And on that Monday call, we answer real estate related questions, but we kind of shift our crowd into thinking from a mindset perspective. Like we kind of challenge them mentally. We talk, we quote scriptures and stuff like that. Because our thing is, we think that life is 95 to 98% mindset, and the other 2 to 5% is everything around it. That's what we believe in, So that's why we preach, like, you should always be renewing your mind. You should always be challenging yourself mentally, always be willing to get uncomfortable, always be willing to push yourself, always just be willing to take it, one step further, go above and beyond, and push yourself and challenge yourself. But that's a mental thing you got to accomplish, because all of this real estate, anybody who want to get started in real estate, all that stuff don't mean nothing until you get your mind right. Because if you don't, you'll quit.
Right. I mean, mindset, like you said, is so important. I know even in my business this week, I've been very focused on mindset and reading the right things. What are some of the things that you do to keep your mindset strong?
Well, we believe that it's a few things that help you get to a proper mindset. And I'm gonna mention a couple of them. Well, first off, it's the crowd you keep. The crowd, the people that you're around, because we are influenced by what we see and what we hear. So you have to be careful with what you listen to, what type of shows you listen to, what type of music you listen to. And don't get me wrong, I fall victim of listening to rap music sometimes because I grew up on rap music. But I also have to bring it to a stop and say, I basically limit myself, to how much I want to take in, because I want to also oversee that with, educational things like educational podcasts or motivational things on YouTube and stuff like that. And of course, church, always, is the great thing to absorb. So one, your crowd, the things that you're bringing into your mind, because your mind is like a sponge. Your brain is a sponge. It absorbs everything that you bring in it. It's no different from you ride in the car and you listen to that same music on the radio. Then all of a sudden when you get home, you singing the song, so your mind has been hearing it, so what you hear, and the people that you're around, when you notice, when I talk about the people you're around, you look at crowds of people, when you look at friends, most of the time, all of them on the same level. You rarely see a millionaire and then you got all these people that, working 9 to 5, you know what I'm saying? Like, you rarely see those type of crowds unless it's a family member visiting somebody. But you have to look at the crowds of people that you're around, the type of music and things that you're listening to. Another thing is, of course, prayer. Prayer is everything. Prayer is the foundation of all of this. Spirituality and stuff like that. That helps you get to a positive mindset. And also, of course, just reading books. Reading books is always good. Meditating, on everything that's going on in life. Meditation is always good. Having a morning ritual. And then for the most part, just make sure you wake up every day and focus on building your confidence. One of the things that I did to build my confidence was I spoke affirmations every day, and like I was saying earlier, what you speak and what your mind hears, it starts to believe it. It starts to translate it. So when you're speaking these positive affirmations to yourself every single day, regardless of if you're in that situation or if you are what you're saying or not, after a while, after a certain amount of time, you start becoming what you say you are. So I strongly believe in that as well. So when it comes to affirmations, spiritual quotes, spiritual, things into your system, removing those people that don't belong in your life, because some people are there for a journey, for just for a period of time, and they're not meant to go on a journey with you forever. And I had to realize that. So when you mix all of those things together, it helps you start developing the right type of mindset.
Wow. And I know you said your beginnings, when you started off, you had started off a little rough in doing things in the streets and things like that. How did you go from that place? And at that time in your life, were you thinking of affirmations and positivity? How did you make that shift to say, I know you said things happened and then you said, okay, enough is enough. But was this something that was always ingrained in you? And now as a man, to say, hey, I speak affirmations. I'm reading. I'm very careful of the company I keep. How important is that as a man to say, this is the things that I'm doing and standing by that? Because a lot of people would say, well, that's not, tough, but it's so important. And it's so, it's a very important thing.
You know what, Hakaya, I get that. You know what? I get asked that question so much by people that I grew up with that are still in the streets, still hustling, still, selling drugs. And those same friends, they still ask me to this day, like, how did you do it? Like, how did you get out of it? And, when I think about it, I'd be like, you know what? Like, of course, prayer, of course, you always gonna throw God in the center, always first. But I just knew that if I could apply the hustle that I was in with that, if I could apply that to doing the right thing, man, I'd be a beast out here, because I was a beast doing that. But if I take that same hustle and drive, same ethic, same work ethic, and put it into something positive, and I got to a point, I didn't, when I was leaving the streets, one of the things that sparked me was, the DEA, pretty much was saying, they took me to their office. And, it was basically saying, you're under surveillance, we watching you. They told me places where I was at, blah, 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 saying these people saying this about you, blah, blah, blah. So, of course, that would scare anybody, and I prayed and I prayed. And I think we teach this to this day. Pray and God will tell you what you're supposed to be doing. Because everybody that want to do real estate, you might not supposed to be doing real estate. It might be something else that you are anointed to do. And your goal in life and the thing you need to challenge yourself in life is to find out what is your purpose. What do you supposed to be doing? And when I prayed, for some reason, real estate kept popping up. Real estate, real estate, real estate. And I kept fighting it. And I got to the point where I was like, man, enough is enough. This real estate thing keep coming in my spirit. I need to find out what's going on with it. And that's when I found out about wholesaling, and I started researching. And don't get me wrong, it took me almost 9 months to close my first deal. And I felt like quitting it in the beginning of it. But I just thank God that I just hung in there. And, it's discipline too. It's so much, it's discipline. Because again, it's not easy making that kind of money. And then 2 years, I wasn't making any money, just to be honest with you, I wasn't making any money, so it was a lot of sacrifice and a lot of discipline. And again, it's a mindset shift. You know, some people are stuck in that hustle mentality lifestyle, and you have to convert. You have to believe. You have to look at it like this: if you believe yourself enough to take risk and chances, to take penitentiary chances, to, you know, put your life in jeopardy, why not bet all that on yourself and do something positive and something productive where you can make a change in this world in a positive way, to where you don't have to look over your shoulders no more, and you can do something that you love to do, still hustle and grind, but do it in a way where you're really doing something positive and something productive, you know what I'm saying, that can make a difference and impact the people that surround you.
Wow, that is powerful. Now, is that something like, do you go back to certain people and certain men that are in the streets still to this day and tell them things like that? I'm sure you do.
I do, but I think I'm not doing enough of it. I think, you know, one of my other goals and passion is going to be go back out to the street guys, you know, so go back out to those guys who still stuck in the streets, who still don't know how to convert over to the right type of living. You know, they think that, hey, if I stop hustling, that means I got to get a 9 to 5. Dude, if you can survive hustling, you can own your own business. You can be an entrepreneur. You don't have to do real estate. Own your lawn service company. You know, get into HVAC and get you a trade and own your own company. Because if you can do all that in the street life, then you can be an entrepreneur. You can work for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's about, you know, I think that's going to be another passion of mine in my second period of my life, is like reach out to those convicts, the guys who got felonies and don't know how to, you know, reach over to another lifestyle. You know, they think that that's all they think that that's all it is, and that's all they know. So they're in fear. They don't know how to do that. They feel like if I go over to do something else, I might fail. But this is easy. This is what I know, and that's not all you know. You have to be willing to step out on faith and believe in yourself. You know, because you know who wouldn't want to bet on themselves? Why not bet on yourself? You know.
Wow, that's super important. And definitely, you know, even branding yourself as someone who's been through that, because that's something I didn't know about you, but I know a lot of times, like you know, you have the Jay Morrises and things like this who have been from the streets, and they let a lot of people know. And then, you know, there's that connection where someone can relate and say, I've been there before, and be able to connect and say, well, if he can do it, I can do it as well. And I know for me as a mom, that's one of my missions as a mother, to say, hey, yes, I'm a mom, I'm a single mom, but I'm also a full-time real estate investor, success coach, and you know, all of these things. So just really making it known, the story is so important, for sure.
You don't know how many people I'm talking about you don't know how many women you impact. That's why we felt like it was important that you were one of the women on the panel, because you don't know how many women that you impact being a single mom, successful, doing your real estate thing. And one thing I admired about you at the meetup was the fact that you brought your family. You know, we told you that you brought your family, and you're all about family and all about building them up, because you want to set example for your young daughters, to where when they get your age, they're going to take the torch, and they're going to, you know, and now you're starting over. If there was ever a curse in your family, if there was ever anything that held your family back, you are putting a stop to it right now. And you are embedding it to your daughters and your sisters. You're embedding it to them right now that I don't care we're single, I don't care we're married, I don't care. It's nothing that's gonna stop us from being successful, because you know we have what it takes to do that. And I commend you for that, because women, you know, not just us African Americans, women, minorities, whatever you want to call it, we all need inspiration. And you know, you are inspiration to women. Believe that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And again, that's one of the reasons why I started Billionaire Businesswomen Mastermind Group. It was set up as a place where women can learn to have success in all areas of their lives, not just financially, but how to be a better mother, how to be a better investor, how to be a better wife, how to be, you know, because that's important. And if it's not taught to you, it's best to surround yourself, like you said, the community and the groups of people that you associate with. You want to surround yourself with like-minded people who are on, you know, have a vision of greatness in all areas of their life. That's super important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow. Well, you know, Will, I want to thank you for joining us on the show today. I don't know what happened to Will, with Tim, but I know I'm going to have to bring Tim on the show so that we can hear more of his secrets to success and some of his keys to success in business. Now, you both are, you know, have been doing this for, you know, how long together? Since 2015, you said, right? So 5 years strong. In the business, and it doesn't look like there's any end in sight, which is such a blessing. blessing the community with free services to learn about real estate investing. Now with COVID-19, because I know you had mentioned, and when I had sat on your panel, we were at a venue, but with COVID-19, how are people able to connect with your resources now that we are not meeting? A lot of people are not meeting, or have you all restarted the meeting?
We've done our last two meetups virtually via Zoom.
Okay.
And we've basically had the same kind of turnouts,
Wow.
and people yearn for information. People yearn to want to learn, and I think that it's a blessing, and we want to continue to teach. We want to continue to give all of the information that we know, and we want to kind of spread the love. So yeah, we've been doing it via Zoom, and we've already been doing that anyway on our Monday calls, because every Monday, so for the past 2 years at 8 o'clock, we do a Zoom and via Facebook Live as well with our mindset call. So it was just a matter of us just converting it over to the meetup, just to keep everybody safe during this COVID-19.
Wow. And what days do you host those events on Zoom, and how can people connect?
Yeah, so if you want to, if you want to join us, of course, we have our group page on REI Wholesales of Rust. We're on Facebook. We don't have an Instagram group page yet, but on Facebook, we have a strong group of like 4,000 people that are in our Facebook group. So if you want to post a deal, want to come in there, join us. If you want to, follow us on social media, on Instagram, I'm at Uncle Bill Buy Houses, and my Facebook is William Galloway, and Tim is Tim Harvey on Facebook, and Who is Tim Harvey on Instagram. And our meetups, again, every last Saturday of the month. If you want to, get a link to our Monday call, or if you want to get access to our meetup, you can text Will and Tim to 82149. That's Will and Tim to 82149, and it'll automatically send you a link to both of those platforms.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. Before we sign off, what is one of your final keys to success that you want to leave our viewers with?
Keys to success. I would say just focus on educating yourself on whatever it is you want to do. Find out what your why is, find out what your purpose is. Pray to God that He allows you to find out what your true passion and what your true anointing is, so you can get involved in whatever that is and be the best at that. Because I feel like you're giving the world a disservice for not finding out what your true purpose is, because once you find your true purpose, you impact others. And just like you found real estate, you're impacting everybody around you. And whatever it is you're supposed to be doing, you need to hurry up and find it so you can start impacting people in a positive way.
Wow. Yes, that is an amazing advice, amazing keys. Thank you so much, William, for taking the time out of your afternoon to
Thank you for having me.
The show. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I know Tim is saying he's in the waiting room. I'm not quite sure how that works, but we're definitely going to work it out on this end and have Tim back on the show. I'll reach out to him after this ends here. But thank you so much for being on the show today, sharing some of your keys to success in your business and in your life. I mean, keep up the great work. Wholesalers Are Us is definitely a blessing. And I appreciate you being on the show. Cynthia said, Miss Lee is definitely an inspiration. This was some great information. She said, hey to my brothers, Tim and Will, and hey to Miss Lee, great show. Cynthia Braggs, thank you so very much for your kind words.
What's up, Cent? What's up, sis? I said, what's up, Cynthia? What's up, sis?
Yes. We have Melissa. Thank you so very much for joining. C.I. Butler, thank you for joining. Gary Miller, thank you for joining as well. And Tim, will definitely reconnect with you here shortly. Until next time, you guys, this is Miss Lee signing off to the Keys to Success. And know that you can check us out every Tuesday and Thursday now at 12 noon, where we discuss some of the keys to success with local business professionals and entrepreneurs. And until next time, we look forward to seeing and speaking with you all soon. Again, we're live, so there's always little things that happen, but no matter what, we keep pushing forward. Until next time, you guys have a great afternoon. Thank you.